Because the world title was on the line next with Damien Priest defending this prestigious and title with this long history against Jey Uso. And again, they lucked into something here with this crowd. I don't care whether anybody ever watches this match again. This was incredible footage that you could not buy or pay for or manufacture for every Jey Uso package they do until the end of time. The entrance was amazing. Were those all cell phone lights that they were bobbing up and down, the lights on their cell phones?
I would think so, yeah.
If you didn't see this, folks, the whole building turned their cell phone lights on. They're playing Jay's, music, rap music, whatever the fuck, but they're bobbing up and down with the cell phone lights and the people waving their arms and they're yeeting. And Jay comes down for all the way from the cheap seats up at the top, all the way through the crowd. And the people are loving him, and the whole place is shaking. The hard camera up in the stands is shaking with this reaction going on. And that's why I'm saying, whatever else that happened from this match, they got footage that they couldn't have gotten under any other circumstance that makes him look like the biggest star in the fucking business. That entrance was, you couldn't replicate that if you tried, could you?
No. And again, it's one of those things, we're not big fans of him in the ring, but he's super over with them, his catchphrases, and again, a special crowd. But that was a really special entrance.
And then the bell rang. It wasn't as bad as WrestleMania because you didn't have Uso opposing Uso, where two guys who work very similarly and both of them are kind of sloppy were opposing each other. Priest is good, and he looks great. He's tanning. He's being aggressive. You can tell he really wants this to work, the world title of blah, blah, blah. He might be trying to stop and lead the people a little bit too often. And by lead the people, I mean when you stop and you give them the dirty look, or you stop and you give them the gesture, or you stop and you do whatever. I'm not saying he shouldn't do it. He did a plethora. That's our word of the day of those. But it's nowhere near. Jey Uso has gotten both too hot doggy and too sloppy at the same time. He's like one of these skateboard guys that only hits half of his tricks and then takes a bow after all of them. Do you know what I mean? His work is not, amazing enough that he can do all this hot dog and bullshit and get away with it, in my opinion, for long. It worked in Leon, but I'm not sure that it won't wear thin on people. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
To me, the other problem is, and I've always liked him, but specifically here, whether it was just the whole presentation, the outfit, and whether it was the match, whatever it was, Damien Priest doesn't feel like a world champion to me yet.
Well, that's the problem. You can tell he's trying. He's putting everything into it, but I mean, again, they made the belt up for Seth, and then Seth gets beat by Drew, but here this guy cashes in. Remember there's been some famous cash-ins from people that you would have never believed would have been the world champion, and they weren't for very long. So this is not like he didn't culminate a long quest by winning this thing fair and square in a big advertised match. It's not conducive to making people think that he's the world champion. But he's trying.
You brought up Seth. Did you see Seth and Becky were at the Kentucky Derby?
Yes, and somebody on social media said, and I agree as a Louisville native, it's an amazing accomplishment when you can say that Becky Lynch had the ugliest outfit at the Kentucky Derby. She looked like she was in a fucking can of biscuits that had popped in half.
Well, everyone was talking about it, but also Seth Rollins shaved. Who knew he looked like Ed Norton
Hey, no, not that Ed Norton, the other Ed Norton. But I didn't see any clip of him walking. So we can't tell how good he was walking. I just saw the clip of them standing there. Did anybody get a walking appraisal?
No.
Unless they had a cart, he did some fucking walking. Churchill Downs is goddamn huge, and I know they were guests. They probably got driven in, but you know the neighborhood around Churchill Downs is not what you would call posh, to say the least. And some of those people that have houses and little yards there make as much money Derby weekend as they do all year by charging people $100 a car to park in their fucking yard. It's an amazing goddamn layout to see, where there's cars in every alley, yard, patch of grass, nook and cranny, whatever. They take it quite seriously out there. Maybe they ought to do WrestleMania at Churchill Downs some year. They had 156,000 for a horse race. With the infield with chairs, they could do North Korea levels, 180, 190,000.
Not enough parking.
I'll open up the castle. Castle grounds, parking, $5,000 a car. We got 3 acres. Take your pick. Get here early to be close to the gate.
Is that the end of this match?
Yes, well, was it? No, it's not. They did a bunch of stuff. What they did was they did a bunch of stuff, and J.D. McDonough got involved, and Priest ain't happy about that. You know, he wants to handle his own business. But anyway, J.D. put Priest's foot on the ropes, and then Uso dove on J.D. and speared Finn, but Priest crotched Jay on the top rope and chokeslammed him off the top, 1, 2, 3. And then Finn and J.D. got back on Jay, but Priest pushed him off and bitched him out and said, "There will be none of this, because it's not fair, and I don't need your help." That's what he was saying.
Whether or not it happens, do you think he needs to be a babyface right now? Considering the role?
No, actually, I would hope they would have been putting more heel heat on him a little bit instead of having him still play with the children, since Rhea's gone and Dominic is gone. Why not let Finn and JD do whatever they need to do and let Damien Priest be a single top heel champion before we go turning him? Because the problem, the more over you are as a heel, the more over you are when you become a babyface, or vice versa. And I think he had been kind of minimized or subliminalized over the past few months with all the other bigger stars and more exciting things that were going on, and the dilution of the Judgment Day to a goddamn social club with spooky lighting. And they ought to concentrate more on letting him run with his title before they switch him. Well, now we want people to like him. He stands up for himself. Whatever. I don't know. What do you think the odds are he's going to be an official, full-fledged babyface sooner or later? What's the over or under?
I think it will be over if they do it right, and it'll be under if Tony Khan books it.
So over if they do it right, and under if they do it wrong. Well, you know, Brian, you can make money with that prediction. Just right there, you can make money with that, because you can go right now, and you know how to download those fancy new apps they got these days, right?
I could do that.
Well, you download the app for Pick 6, the new fantasy game from DraftKings, an official partner of the NBA. Now, they can't be fully responsible for the NBA, folks. If your favorite team loses, don't blame DraftKings, but they are a partner. And with the new Pick 6 fantasy game app, you just download that. And the NBA playoffs, I guess, are going, they're going to be going on for the next, 3-4 months now?
Well, not that long, but the Knicks start tonight. So, next round.
Well, they could nick one. But the thing is, these playoffs go on forever, and there's a lot of overs and a lot of unders, a lot of more and a lot of less. So what you do is you pick between 2 and 6 players, and you choose if they're going to have more of a stat or less of a stat. More rebounds, more points, more assists, more than who you say? More than who the other guy says. That's who I say. And then you track your picks and you play against those other people who may or may not know shit from apple butter about this subject. And you get a shot to win huge cash prizes. Those huge cash prizes are just plain big. So right now, you download the DraftKings Pick 6 app, use the code JCE, that way they know we sent you, and you're with the cool kids, and then you start winning money. Just say, little Farquhar over there is going to have more than 3 rebounds, or little Pismo on the left is going to have less than 6 points, and with a name like Pismo, he probably will. Or you can even pick on whether, one guy's going to break more or less than one leg, and just a variety of things.
What about the home runs?
The home runs.
What about the touchdowns?
Touchdowns.
The hat tricks.
Hat tricks.
And
other
so much
words
more.
And phrases that I don't know how they apply to real sports, but you do, folks, and you can pick them now. More or less, under, over. The choice is yours. The crown is yours. The money will be yours. That's the code of JCE only on the DraftKings Pick 6 sports app thing, fantasy game. Just start downloading now. But now, if you have a gambling problem, that's a problem gambling. And that's not a problem that's actually a problem stopping gambling. The gambling is no problem. It's the stopping of the gambling that may be the problem. Do we have a recorded announcement that will help these people before they go to the poorhouse?
We certainly do. Here's an announcement for people who are currently struggling with gambling. You're fucked. No, let's go to this.
Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 and over in most eligible states. Age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Pick 6 not available in all states, including but not limited to Connecticut and New York. For up-to-date list of states, visit dkng.co/pick6states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
It's a great selling point to have for people in New Jersey. Well, for people in New York and Connecticut to get them to New Jersey because it's not available there, according to Fred's announcement.
Is that a real motherfucker?
Fred?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's got to be
He's a hard-working man. He's a hard-working guy. He's got a family.
No, he's an owl voice, artificially intelligenced voice. He doesn't have any human emotion in that voice. There's no gravel in that. There's no sorrow. There's no heartache. He's never experienced love and anger and fear. You can tell in the voice that he doesn't have there. That's a fake voice.
Well, he, whether real or fake, is concerned for you, the struggling gambler.
He's not concerned for me. He doesn't give a shit about me.
Not you, the struggling gambler out there, I said.
Well, if he doesn't give a shit about me, why should he give a shit about them?